Good day, viewers. Good day. You're welcome to SSM News Echoes this beautiful Friday morning here in Milan, Italy. And you are tuned into our world affairs for our global audience. You're welcome to the new month of February 2nd, 2024. And this is that day also. The Nigerian Super Eagles football team is playing Angola at the AFCON tournament going on. You're welcome, viewers. You're welcome. Normally, I'm joined here with my coordinators from different parts of the world. But for now, let's just run the news as we find ourselves. Headlines are running. Lots of things are happening. The world is full of occurrences from different parts, different situations coming up. What we have in our newspaper headlines this morning, major newspaper headlines we're looking at is number one is Saudi Arabia has finally succeeded in joining the BRICS. The BRICS bloc of developing nations have admitted Saudi Arabia as one of its members. And Saudi Arabia will be bringing its quota, its own part of a lot of things economically, diplomatically into the BRICS organization. So this is running in all the news this morning. We also have a news on something that is happening from the health corner. Syphilis. Syphilis is one of the oldest transmitted sexual disease. Syphilis has come back, and syphilis is raging very hard. Syphilis is running around the world in an alarming rate. So this is what we're hearing from some of the papers. CNN is reporting this, BBC. Syphilis is on the rise, and there are so many cases of people falling sick. It says 7.1 million new cases of syphilis since 2021. So I think we need to be on the lookout for that. Syphilis is back, and syphilis is ravaging a lot of people. Syphilis is that sexual transmitted disease, and it's a strange disease, like they say. It has a mimicking effect. It looks like another infection, but in the real sense, it's syphilis. So it comes in a different form. It comes in a different way, but it's syphilis that is attacking that person. So these are the news we're following. There are still more updates on the Israel-Hamas war. Israel-Hamas war, U.S. has said it with the U.K. that strikes will still continue against the Houthi tribe. Strike will still continue against the Houthi tribe in Yemen, and it says they've deployed 9 attack ships. They've deployed a lot of vessels and a lot of ammunitions that will be in the following week be striking that part of Yemen where the Houthis are also residing. So U.S. President Biden says he approves the strike, and strikes will also be coming on Syria and Iraq. This is the information this morning. Strikes will be taking place in most parts of those parts of the world, even as the weather condition there does not favor this present confrontation. So U.S. President says strikes will continue against the Houthis, and there are plans to also come very strong against what happened at the border town between Jordan and Syria, the border country there. 3 U.S. soldiers were killed. So reprisal attacks will be going on, and this is what we're hearing from the U.S. Defense Secretary Austin, Lloyd Austin. So follow up the news, listen to the news, be aware of what is happening. It keeps you informed, it makes you know what's going on, and you're able to also decide on what parts, who's on what and what's going on. Yes, the news is on. You're welcome to News Echoes, SSM World Affairs. I'm now joined by my friend, my colleague in Moscow, Russia, Dr. Godwin Ibe. Godwin Ibe, you're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. I hope I'm audible.
Loud and clear, my brother, loud and clear. This is Friday, a day Nigeria will be playing Angola at the AFCON tournament. and a day when Saudi Arabia joined the BRICS. Godwin, tell us about Saudi Arabia joining the BRICS. A lot of people are excited. We know it's a new development. It adds to the strength of the BRICS. So what's happening there, Godwin?
Oh, the BRICS is a not just an emerging force. It's already a powerful force, but it's most importantly it controls the commodity market. And when we mean commodity market, it includes raw materials, natural resources, energy, oil, rare earth materials, and the rest. Adding Saudi Arabia, there's already a global giant in terms of oil production. It's a very big plus, but no doubt about that. But we also understand that Saudi Arabia has kind of is trying to toe a line in terms of balancing its relations, diplomatic relations with the East and West. Most of its security is guaranteed by the United States. It's involved in the Abraham Accords as well with Israel. And so it tries to balance a fine line. I would say that Saudi Arabia wants to do business with everybody, including Iran, because Iran was a participant of Iran was in agreement with Saudi Arabia for once in a long time concerning Gaza. I would say Saudi Arabia wants to do business with everyone, but at the same time, it has its priorities, and it doesn't like the weaponization of the dollars in terms of sanctions. Like they usually say, they came for my neighbor, I was quiet. When they came for me, there was no one left to speak out. And yes, and the dollar, US dollar, is a very comfortable, very convenient currency. It's no doubt. I mean, the whole world would like to use it, and so there should be no reason why the weaponization of the currency seems more like shooting oneself in the foot, because it creates that reduces that joy of using it, and that dopamine effect, and it makes people to want to find other alternate sorts of trade settlement and sanctions evasion.
Yes.
So it's a good plus. Yeah,
it's a good plus. While the minister of the foreign affairs minister of South Africa was announcing that announcement early this morning, he also said United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, Iran, like you just said, Egypt, have all agreed. So they are on the pipeline, and they are looking at all the criteria and everything. So maybe today, tomorrow, by next week, we might hear more countries join. What does this mean for Iran? Since Iran is also at loggerhead presently with America, with this whole Houthi, all this talk, what do you think will happen once they join the BRICS?
No, they are already in BRICS. They're not trying to join. They've already joined officially. Yes, they have joined. Yes, they have joined.
This morning is still.
No. There was a meeting. The BRICS meeting is held in Moscow. Moscow is the chairman. Moscow is the chair, holding the chairmanship position
because
now.
I heard the news from the South African. The South African foreign minister gave the announcement. And,
maybe it was 2 days ago or something like this, when Saudi Arabia was still thinking. But Iran joined before Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia started yesterday officially joined. So the first meeting that was chaired by the Russian side was held in Moscow, and the representatives were there. It was a physical meeting. There was mixed translations, synchronized translations, and it's these people understand what it means to put aside little difference for the greater common good or common goal. And so Iran and Saudi Arabia have cooperated in a lot of things, including, like I said, the Israel-Gaza conflict, and now this BRICS. They understand that while the US dollar is a convenient, comfortable currency, they don't want to put themselves lacking leverage and how do I say, in a vulnerable position with terms of weaponization of the currency, and also to allow for increased valuation of their national currencies by trade settlement in national currency. So they are also beefing up their own currencies and also shielding their economy from inflation. For example, when you have an economy that's too dependent on import, and the values of goods and services are valued in the US dollar, then it opens the economy to inflation and global inflation. So I think that they're also shielding their economy from inflation and also beefing up their national currency. Right there.
Thank you very much. You are more updated, and it's good you're saying what you're saying in front of quite a number of people here. Dr. Godwin, there's a strong reaction on SSM handles about Elon Musk's new products. He says he has successfully implanted wireless brain chip. So there's a new product called Telepathy, and it's something that will be used for those that have lost use of their limbs, their brain, and everything. So this is a new invention by Elon Musk, that billionaire and owner of X Twitter. He says this will go a long way. Now, the FDA, the United States Food, Drug, and Administration gave the license. They gave them that permit to carry out that initial implant on human beings. He successfully did that, even though we saw some good, not too good pictures of what was happening in that experiment with monkeys and some animals. You know, they had to drill through their brain and all that. But one thing that has come out is that he did this, and he says it was successful. Human beings that have lost use of their arms and legs and stuff will now be able to function. So you have people that imagine if that young man, there was that young man back in those days, the scientist that was on the wheelchair. Imagine if he was alive now, he could have his brain implanted and he could still move.
You mean Stephen Hawkins?
Yes, Stephen Hopkins. Thank you. He would still be able to do a lot of things. So how do you see this invention? How do you see this? Is it a good one for mankind? Is it a good step for is it a good innovation, or will this bring other things? Because some people are looking at the other side of it too. What will you say about this invention? Telepathy.
Well, it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. I mean, it has its clear benefits, but you know, there's a lot of hypocrisy here because, for example, it's a federally funded, US federally funded project, by the way. We have both federal funding from the US, and they are working with University of Davis, California. So it's clear that the government is working in tandem with them and giving them all the approvals they need to get it. So it means that they've been able to sell the idea not just to the investors but also to the government. So the kind of the extreme cries and shoutings by politically aggravated or politically inclined people is a little bit too much. It's a little bit hypocritical. We understand that we love animals. I mean, we've tried to, well, we eat them, we kill them, we eat them, we, you know, sometimes, you know, just, I don't want to say it on YouTube, but you know, basically their head is just, you know, for them for us to be able to eat them. It's nature, life's the cycle of life. But in this particular case, some people say there's a lot of cruelty. Like some of the animals are operated about 10 times. Like we have 10 invasions in the skull before they eventually put down. And there are also some side effects they talked about, like diarrhea and some other symptoms. This is sad, and in terms of that these animals have to go through them. But for any advancement, whether it's from antibiotics to these advancements in human, obviously there are tests on animals. I mean, that's where we coined the name lab rat. After an experiment is done on a rat, you don't release the rat to the environment. You shouldn't release a rat that you worked on in the lab for whatever reason, if it's not just treatment, and release it back into the forest. So it's clearly has its benefit, but we have to deal with the side effects of this
the side effects of it. Let's have some few comments on the screen here. Loretta George, while we were talking about that, said mixed feelings about it.
She was talking
Yes.
about Saudi Arabia. She dropped this comment while we're talking about Saudi Arabia
Ah,
joining
okay. Okay.
BRICS.
Mixing about it. Then some Abhishek Kumar says feeling proud with his performance. I think that one is for the brain chip surgery, the brain implanted wireless brain chip. So anyway, yes. What X also said, what Elon also said is this invention will also enable people to control their phones and computer just by thinking. Can you imagine? Just by thinking, you could do some things. You could even write, and a lot of things. And like we said, if Stephen Hopkins were to be alive, this would have really done a lot for him, you know. And we're still looking at it, and we're still hoping because Elon Musk has done some inventions. Also, he has done some things that didn't go right. You know those things. I mean, on several times he tried to space rocket his SpaceX rocket, and it didn't work. He also tried to the plan of Tesla, that car, Tesla, to drive from New York to Los Angeles also didn't work. The project didn't come through. So he has the flaws, but he's good at what he does. Yes, Loretta George is saying not Saudi Arabia, the brain chip implant. I have mixed feelings about it. Okay, I think I said so. So she's talking about the brain chip implant. She has mixed feelings about it. Yes, like many of us, Loretta, we feel it's something that should be really, really observed well. The FDA, every other body should really check on this because we're talking of human lives. We're talking of trying to experiment with some space of human life that is very, 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 very crucial. Very, very crucial. Thank you, Loretta George. Thank you. Yes, Godwin, you want to say some last word?
Yeah. I said thanks that for the correction.
Yes.
I think maybe you were talking about it before I came on because
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. All right, man. Let's go down. There are still lots and lots of news. Viewers, you're tuned in to this Friday, the Friday that Saudi Arabia joined BRICS, and the Friday Nigeria, the AFCON games going on, and Nigeria will be playing Angola today in the quarterfinal matches. Dr. Godwin, let's look at some news updates. I saw you were sending into the WhatsApp some updates on Russia, Ukraine. Please, can you update us? But before you go on, let me just say from our part what we're observing. Number one of what we're observing is, yes, Ukraine army chief said there's setback in the war. He said so yesterday. And Ukraine said also that Russia warship has unleashed massive, they use the word massive, missile barrage on Crimea. And now what we are looking at from Europe on all of this is that there is something that's about to happen. Europe is about to freeze Russian assets. Lots of assets generated to billions will soon be freezed. Like we got the information yesterday. They said, and those assets could be sent to Ukraine to help rebuild Ukraine's economy. So the European Union said they agreed that there's 50 billion funding packages and all that assets around Europe. There's a company called Euroclear, that's it. Euroclear said they will be seizing 50 billion funding that's meant for Russia, and they'll be using it to also help back Ukraine. I don't know if you've got that news. Euroclear is in Belgium. It's an European company, and a lot of the Europeans all agreed that so many of the funding, so many assets that are here with them that belong to Russia will be seized and be used rather to help Ukraine. So these are strange things. I don't know if you have anything on that, some of those news. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so just a little bit of correction. The assets were already frozen. They're not about to be frozen. They were already frozen. What we're speaking about now is outright theft. That means collection and repurposing of these assets, right? And there were talks of it, but the Russian side has replied that, well, we prepared in advance. You go ahead, we'll have a retaliation definitely ready. So there's going to be a two-sided, not just freezing, but seizing and collection and repurposing of assets. This is just outright theft. A lot of European countries and central banks are against the idea. They
Okay.
have said it's that the touching sovereign assets will open a Pandora box of
Mhm.
instability and insecurity.
Okay.
So that's why they haven't gone ahead. They've been able to approve the 50 billion tranche sum to Ukraine.
Mhm.
Viktor Orban was able to finally agree,
Mhm.
and they were able to approve the 50 billion fund. We know that it can't make any difference because the United States have sent two, three times of that, and it's been no effect. The head of the Ukrainian army has said, in fact, the tone has changed.
Okay.
Initially, the tone of the Western side was like they need to defeat Russia militarily on the battlefield.
Uh-huh.
And secondly, it changed to there's a stalemate. And
Yes.
now we are hearing a lot of European
Ukraine is
countries saying that Ukraine has to cede territory. So it just shows the evolution of the stages of grief. First of all, living in denial and finally accepting the realities on the ground. Obviously, it's not a problem for Moscow about the money, but looking from outside, it's sad the changes that occur in a territory where war takes place. You know, war is bad, but it's worse when it's on your own territory.
Mhm.
You lose not just manpower and weaponry, you also lose your industries, your economy. I
Everything.
mean, everything. I mean, the Ukrainian economy is basically surviving on this aid which the EU and the US are sending. And this was a country that was very, very industrial, very, very agricultural as well, supplying being a food basket to the world and a lot of industrialized. Even the biggest, you once alluded to it, the biggest transport plane in the world, the Antonov 400
Anthony,
was produced. Yes, it was produced in Ukraine. It was
Ukraine.
produced in Ukraine.
Yes.
But it's a very sad development of events. I hope that the West and the East can come to the negotiating table without a precondition and try to find a way out because obviously
And try to find.
Saber rattling is not the way, obviously.
Yes, trying to find a way out. Okay, thank you very much. You said it well. Yes, the bailout, the season of funds had been done long ago, and but now they are saying they're taking it all together to help rebuild Ukraine. Um, Dr. Godwin, let's move on. Do you have any update for us again on the Russia-Ukraine war? Is there any new thing we need to hear?
Yes,
Just-
in the last show or episode we had, there was a little bit of confusion. Not confusion from my side, but someone raised a one of our panelists raised an objection to the validity of the plane that was shot down, the Il-96 and the passengers that were on board. I argued
yes,
that those were Ukrainian prisoners of war, and that
yes.
initially the Ukrainian side denied it, but they later accepted it.
Hmm.
And now there's a more of a consensus. The Ukrainian side has officially asked for the bodies to be returned back,
Okay,
to be repatriated. There's a Russian investigative committee has released a video. I think I can basically just show it.
go ahead.
Investigative committee released a video showing the airplane parts and the most important, the missile that was used to gun it down. It was a Patriot missile, the US supplied Patriot anti-aircraft missile. I think it's pretty much set in stone. It's sad. And they were supposed to use the 195 by 195 exchange mechanism to exchange these prisoners. So they were supposed to get Russian prisoners of war and give Ukrainian prisoners of war. But now, as I understood or learned, that exchange still took place later, but
Okay,
not with those people that died. Obviously, they were replaced with some other people, and yeah, it's really sad that at least these soldiers couldn't return back to their families. I mean, many of these soldiers, whether Ukrainian or Russian, they are patriotic, following orders, and unfortunately, it's very sad, irrespective of their nationality, when they can't return back to their families.
Thank you very much. So yes, you put that right. But we also had Ukraine say they sank the Russian warship.
Yes, that's confirmed. That's
Yeah.
confirmed.
Okay.
That's confirmed. It was a ship, warship, like you rightly said. A small
Yes.
one though, a small one. Russia has so many of those ones. It wasn't like the big one like the last time that they were able to puncture it.
Okay.
But yeah, there are a lot of losses going on.
Dr. Godwin, thank you. Viewers, you are tuned into our Friday SSM News Echoes World Affairs program, and you're hearing from Dr. Godwin in Moscow, Russia, and myself here in Milan, Italy. Dr. Godwin is giving us update on the Russia-Ukraine war, and we've talked about also a new invention by Elon Musk, the ex-Twitter man. Said he has successfully implanted wireless brain chip on people. So we're looking.
Sorry to cut you short. I want to add because connected to this topic,
Yes,
the new Minister of Defense of China.
That's what I said. Updates. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So the Beijing, the new Minister of Defense, he actually studied in Moscow. And he's now the new defense minister. He said that Beijing is giving Russia support on the Ukrainian issue, and the West will not be able to stop us. He said in recent years, the US and the West have been isolating Russia. We understand everything, and we strongly support justice by providing support on the Ukrainian issue. He also said the defense cooperation between China and EU has taken a hit. But will not change and abandon established policies because of this. They will not be able to prevent normal Sino-Russian cooperation. So that's what Dong Jun, the new minister, said.
Dong Jun. Okay, let's before we go on the break, Dr. Godwin, let's come to Middle East, Pakistan. Pakistan is heading towards their February, I think it's February 8th election. But one of the candidates was shot dead yesterday. And it has sprung up nationwide protests. I don't know. Are you following that news?
Which country are you speaking about? Pakistan?
Pakistan, yes.
Yes. I'm not following that news in particular, but on a long-term basis, I've been following the change of government from Imran Khan to the new military governor and the whole geopolitics behind it.
Okay.
So I'm not surprised.
Yes. Anyway, they are heading to the polls by February the 8th, just a few days from now. And one of the candidates was shot down, was killed while he was on his campaign. I think that happened on Tuesday, Wednesday, thereabouts. So it has escalated violence among his supporters, and but we're still looking. They said the gunman opened fire at him while he was in his car in the marketplace. He was doing campaign. So that's what's happening in Pakistan. Viewers, if you're following that news, check it out. One of the candidates for the Pakistan elections coming up on February the 8th has been shot. And
do you know his name? Because I only hear about the shootings, but I don't really. His name is not so imminent.
Yes, his name is not so imminent. I think he's Rehan Zab Khan. Rehan Zab Khan is an independent candidate, and he's actually affiliated with the other minister,
Imran Khan.
Imran Khan, yes, he's affiliated, but I don't think they are related. But anyway, he was shot, and he's sparking off some other things. Some people claim that a militant separatist group did that, but we're not very sure. So we're following the news. By today, we might know what exactly happened in Pakistan. So, but that's it, viewers. Let's go on a short break, Dr. Godwin. Let's go on a short break. I think you have more updates for us from China, BRICS, and those part of the world. But we'll come back, and there's much more to talk about. So, viewers, stay tuned. This is Friday, News Echoes, and we're doing the world affairs. See you on the other side.
A year ago, I wrote a book titled The Final Solution, and I was trying to say to the rest of the world that there are challenges ahead. Now, a prophecy did come, and that prophecy is coming to pass. But I'm telling you, the final solution has been found many years ago in the Bible, because the Bible simply says righteousness exalts a nation and sin is a reproach to the people. So I want you to know that you can get solutions to problems in Ukraine, in Russia, in Nigeria, indeed all parts of the world. We need that solution, and the solution is straightforward. Please get a copy of my book. It's the Final Solution by Bishop Shegun Johnson, and you can find it in Kindle, in Amazon. Just type Bishop Shegun Johnson, The Final Solution. It will come. It's very, very small book you can read within 2 hours, but it contains the final solution. Do get a copy. Not getting it is doing disservice to humanity. Don't forget the final solution.
Hi there, I'm Mary Keurig, and I am a businesswoman in the United States, but I'm also the Global Content Vice President for the Sub-Saharan Open University in Nigeria. I could not be prouder to work with Dr. Osita Anamika and his team on helping to create not just entrepreneurs and skill-based talent that will get out into the workforce and make a living for themselves, but also young leaders. And to that end, with this integrity-rich university environment that's accredited now, and it's just an amazing opportunity for anyone there of any age to jump on board and learn, we want to let you know about a new offering that we have. We have a global governance and diplomacy course now provided by a whole team of people that crosses several countries to put together these resources and lots of great information for those of you who might be on the path toward public service and diplomatic service, NGO leadership, that sort of thing. We hope that you will walk through this open door and enjoy.
Viewers, you're tuned in. Welcome back to our second segment of News Echoes, SSM Friday World News Affairs. Dr. Godwin, you're welcome. Dr. Godwin, more things are still happening. If I write about time, right now we're talking, things are occurring every part of the world. One that just came in now is airlines will no more fly to will no more carry French citizens to Niger. Airlines have all been blocked from taking French citizens. But before then, let me welcome Bidi Nana. Bidi Nana, how are you? Welcome to Friday, beautiful Friday here in Milan. Hope you can hear us.
Can hear you. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good. Welcome, Bidi.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bidi. Welcome.
Yes, Bidi, do you have that news? It's just coming in. Niger says no more French national to fly into their country. So this also means that airlines like Ethiopian Airlines, Egypt Airlines, and some of these airlines will all stop flying to that part of the world. What do you have on that? Air Morocco, all of it.
Yeah, that is actually a developing news, and they have said it. They're not just saying it now. They've said this thing over like 2 weeks. But I think probably the one thing that they are joking, or maybe they are just one of those lip service thing. But I think they are very serious about it, and they intend to take it very serious. They are not playing about it.
They're not playing about it. Yes. So, but this BD, as you know, will also economically to affect them. It will affect the airlines too. because some of these airlines are most times jammed up with passengers from Europe, from France. Now they've banned all of those airlines, about 7 of them. And this is business that has been declined, business that has been made nullified. So, Dr. Godwin, what do you have on that? What do you say? Niger doesn't want any airline coming from France into their country.
You know, we saw a picture, ECOWAS. Now it's Echo was, now it's Echo is. Yes. Now we don't know what it will be. Echo to be. Echo will be. We don't know what it will be. But it's a sad development. It's a failure of diplomacy. It's going to be a loss on both sides. A lot of people have tried to argue that, well, these countries just make up 8% of ECOWAS and so on. And I just don't understand I just don't understand if everyone really understands the implication of loss of 8% of your economy, for example. It's a deep recession. You have protests all over the streets. You have lots of because basically the government will fail to fulfill some of its social obligations, and there'll be lots of bankruptcies which will reverberate around the country. 8% is no small number in any way, shape, or form when we talk about socioeconomic. But this it's clear that there's going to be disproportionate loss. There will be more percentage loss on the on these countries, Western African countries, and I can fly to. But it's important. What is important is the fact that they are serious about where they are going. That's right. That's the like you can even suffer. You can make some sacrifice as long as you know where you are going and you have a plan. That's all that matters. They seem to be realigning all their foreign policy on mutual respect. They are cutting off all narcissistic relationship, all colonialist relationship, all condescending relationship. They are realigning all foreign policy with mutual respect, and that's something to commend. Yeah.
Wow, that's a good thing to observe. Thank you very much. There was news I said earlier before you guys joined. BD, there is syphilis has come back and is ravaging the world. Dr. Godwin, you are on the medical side too. We are hearing that about 7.1 million people now globally have syphilis, and they say it's growing. So why I want us to put out this is to also create an awareness, let people know that some of these things they think are long gone are still on. Syphilis used to be way back. I think it came out in the 40s. It was still out there in the 40s. They used to term it a French disease because I think somehow in France a lot of people had it. But now they say it's moving around the world. There's strong rise of syphilis, and syphilis actually is affiliated with sexual activities on protected and rough sexual activities. So, PD, what do you want to say anything on that? That's what the health organization is bringing out this morning.
Yeah, I think Dr. Ime will be the best person to respond to this. But let me say the little I know about it. Yeah. I remember I started hearing about syphilis when I was in school. Okay. In my hostel, I lived in the hostel for my 4 years in school. I lived in hostel. There's two common things when we go to university clinic. Syphilis and I forgot to remember them. There's two.
Gonorrhea.
Not gonorrhea. Not gonorrhea. Doctor, remind me.
Herpes.
What are you speaking about?
In a hostel, in a female hostel, there's a common two this thing that we always hear, syphilis and one other one. Okay. They say that we get it from toilets.
Okay. From dirty.
So many things you can get.
There's particular two. So that's the much I know about that syphilis thing. And this one they say that it's back. I think I had more of syphilis when I was in school. It's a common thing that I had so often. When we go to school clinic.
Okay. So anyway, that's it. It's back and it's killing. What do you want to say, Godwin?
Yeah, I wanted to say like it's never been eradicated, but it's been under control.
Yes.
I mean, it's been controllable with penicillin. You know, it's one
Mm-hmm.
of those diseases that thankfully is can be treated with penicillin. We know there are lots of penicillin resistant microorganisms nowadays, especially bacteria. But it can be treated with penicillin. It's been under control, but we are seeing a rise.
Yes.
If we, especially the US is the one who is raising the alarm because they had like 80% increase from the last 5 years, right? 80%, and if we only look from last year, I think like 18%. It's mostly sexually transmitted, but it's a contact disease, transmitted by contact, any form of contact. And that is why we have babies, lots of newborn babies with syphilis.
Syphilis.
So that is sad, and it affects maybe 30% of pregnancy incidents in terms of pregnancies. Mother pass it on to the child. But I think the reason for this, if you ask me, I think the reason for this is the economic inequalities and the booming sexual industry. There are now more ways to for promiscuity and wokeness that is allowed, and
Mm-hmm.
well, those are the consequences of just making everything economic and capital focused, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so the way out to be to people to recognize, go for early diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
treat it, and obviously try to regulate the number of, do I say regulate? Or at least the least the number of partners, the better.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, viewers, you're listening to what we're saying here. It's good to be informed. It's good to know what is going on. So you also protect yourself. Dr. Godwin has just given us that insight into this disease. They say it's ravaging. It's spreading very fast. And Dr. Godwin, one thing with when something starts from America, it goes more further because Americans travel. There is this free pass for them everywhere. They will go to South America for their sex tourism. They will go to Africa. They will take it. So before you know, they'll be inflicting many people with this thing. So viewers, be on the guard. Syphilis is back. You don't want to be hot. And we're in a time when also our immune is not as strong as before. So some of these diseases could come into the bodies now and even escalate into bigger problems. Dr. Gordon, is that not so? It could now become more than syphilis, escalate into something else. And you have people being at risk with their lives, their health. So thank you for that, Dr. Godwin. Thank you. BD, you say you don't know much. It's okay. Moving forward, Dr. Godwin, do you have that update on what is happening in, you talked about Xi
You
Jinping.
mean Gaza?
No.
Okay.
Been officially receiving the ambassador. Yeah, you've talked about that, and you've talked about also the Russian investigative committee showed fragments of the plane we were talking about last time. Do you have pictures on that? Do you have any pictures or anything you want to show the viewers so they can get updated? Yes, you can do that.
I don't know if this will be, let's see what language this will be, because sometimes I listen to these things in Russian language, and
Okay, no problem. Translate
let's
for us.
see if it's in English.
Вы в первое время отправили мне письмо поздравлений, что выразила доброе желание по развитию отношений между двумя странами и двумя армиями. Здесь я хочу выразить вам глубокую признательность. Данная конференция и переговоры являются первым моим рабочим мероприятием по иностранным делам.
Okay, to cut the long story short, he just spoke about his that this is his first meeting as he's assuming office, and talked about trying to improve relationship with Russia, like I've said, and the West not being able to stop it, and him seeing the need to to provide support on the Ukrainian issue. Basically, that's it. So I don't think there's much much time to spend on that.
Thank you very much. But it's good you're bringing this. You see, viewers, we're covered in all corners: Asia, Russia, Far East, Middle Belt, Middle East, Atlantica, and everywhere you can get all the updates. So let's come now to the Houthi situation, Dr. Godwin. BD, are you following that Houthi thing? Yesterday there were some strikes and resistance too. But America and the UK says they will come stronger again. Also bearing in mind that this is affecting global business, movement of goods from that part of the world to the other end of the world. So, Dr. Godwin, give us the update. BD, do you have anything on that too from Africa? The Houthi attack.
Yeah, I want to speak. Let me let BD speak. BD, you're muted.
BD, yes. Go ahead, BD. Go ahead. From Africa point of view, what's happening? How are you people seeing the Houthi?
Let Dr. Ibe go on. Let him go on when it's true.
Okay. Thank you so much. I write in all these groups, and I once wrote that a carpenter, very important in our society, but some carpenters may think that every problem can be solved with a hammer. You just like hit it on the head and then the problem is solved. We are seeing that just like maybe even a doctor may think that every problem can be solved with an injection or with drugs, right? So it's not a carpenter only thing. But you see, after nearly 4 months of Israel fighting, we have 25,000 plus dead. Hamas is back in full force in northern Gaza, coordinating militant cell, policing community, and even rebuilding governance. In the southern Gaza, Hamas is in firm control, and the US have agreed that the tunnels that Hamas have were much more than they anticipated. So they haven't gone like even half of the going through the underground tunnels that Hamas have. They say it's in hundreds of kilometers. The apparent resurgence of Hamas in areas seized and cleared, the areas that were seized and cleared by Israeli troops during the nearly 4-month offensive, it underlines the difficulties that Benjamin Netanyahu is facing in meeting his pledge to crush, in quotes, militant people. Yeah, we see that it's not really easy, and the losses are not why they're disproportionate. There's no enough logic for that, Eval was her name, Eyal Hulata, who until January 2023 was the head of Israel's National Security Council. She said, "We are hearing more, unfortunately, of the recovery of insurgency in both central and northern Gaza. We are hearing more and more that Hamas are doing policing in northern Gaza and governing trade, and that is a very bad outcome." That's the head of Israel's national security until January 2023. So this is not like some kind of Hamas news or Russian news or propaganda. This even the representatives of the country are telling you that they are failing in their efforts, and it would have been better if they stopped. Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Godwin, I yesterday also listening to the following up the situation, I found out that the Houthi have changed in their style of attack. Initially, they were using missiles and drones to attack, but now they are using mainly missiles, and they are launching far away from Yemen. So what this means is it's going to be very hard to get them, because they are now situated in a point, in a place. It wasn't like when they were on boats, on ships themselves coming to attack. Now they are staying in one place and sending these long-range missiles. So America is actually having problem. Biden said the strikes will continue, but they are having issues. They are having issues getting it very well. The strikes are not targeted as they planned it, because also Iranian, like you know, are backing this militant up, and Iranians are very good with missiles. They are good with some couple of missiles. So it's not working, like you just said. It's not working as they planned. This whole thing is really going the other way. But what we're seeing is loss of lives. it might now, like we said, affect global economy, because goods are not coming again, goods are not going that way again, and all of this somehow will affect human survival. You agree with me, Godwin?
Obviously, I agree with you. But the problem is that NATO is a strong military organization. But in reality, what the reality shows that it can win just one war. If it's going to be in one war, yes, it may be able to, most probably be able to win. Obviously, if it's not against a nuclear state, right? Because there will be no winners. But for any other country, not a nuclear state, NATO can win one war. But when it's stretched out thin, it's involved the Houthi rebels, involved with Hamas, involved with Hezbollah and Lebanon, and then it's in supplying Ukraine. We can see that, yeah, it begins to fail in its obligation by just pointing saying, look, there's no money, there are no weapons to supply, and then they begin to take losses and hits, and there's absolutely no need. There's no need for starting so many wars, especially the ones you can't even control. And there are no ships, there are no commercial ships in the Red Sea, especially from Israel. No. It's a death sentence if you carry the Israeli flag and you have a commercial ship. It's just like a death sentence. Even the US military ships are being attacked in the Red Sea. The video I showed that's on the screen, it's abandoned weapons, Israeli weapons in Gaza. Abandoned Israeli weapons in Gaza. It's actually, not destroyed, just abandoned.
Let's hear what the press man is saying. Is there a voice? It's in Arabic.
أنقل لكم المشهد والصورة من أمام هذه الذخائر الإسرائيلية التي وجدناها في إحدى التكنات العسكرية الإسرائيلية في العدوان الإسرائيلي الذي لا زال على قطاع غزة. هذا العتاد وهذه الصواريخ التي أقف أمامها الآن هي صواريخ تمت بها مقتل الفلسطينيين.
Okay, to cut the long story short.
He's old. I mean, these things could set off right there where he's standing and blow him up.
Military journalists have to be brave. I think it's a requirement. But we got the translation ahead of time in advance, and basically it was trying to just saying that those are the weapons Israeli. He's showing the markings, the signs, showing that they're Israeli weapons that were abandoned during retreat. You understand? So it's a terrible outcome. We hope that the wars will kind of find diplomacy will win, and the wars will kind of stop, and understand that even though they are not state actors, but they have some level of influence, and they can actually mess up your trade.
They can actually mess up their trade. Okay, BD, we still want to know how Africa is taking all of this.
Please unmute yourself, BD.
Yes, Africa is close to the Middle East more than Europe and America and the other parts of the world. So obviously, when these things happen, they should have some repercussion and effect on the continent. What's happening there?
What's happening is that, like Dr. Ibe said, in this Israel and Hamas war, the influence of Africa is supposed to be fed, but because of divided interests from Africa, they are not even interested in the lives of their citizens of the continent. Rather, they are interested in what they become. Who is in power, who matters in this war. That's actually what has made them become so irrelevant. If you look at what is happening in Burkina Faso now and what is happening in Mali, it shows that African leaders are not being felt. And when your presence as a leader is not felt, a lot of things goes wrong. Do you understand? The Africans have not fully represented themselves as leaders, and that is actually what is happening there. They can't even. They are even confused. Now in that war, all the focus now is on Western war, to see that if this dialogue or there's going to be peace, it's coming from Western world. It's not coming from Africa, and it's something that we should be worried about. if something is happening around us at our backyard, and we are not able to do something, but we depend on foreigners to come and determine what happens to us. It's a very big problem.
Yes, it is. It's a big problem indeed. Thank you very much. Viewers, you are hearing it live. There's some more content you have to show us. Go ahead.
Yes, it's a little bit it's connected to the whole once upon a rebel force. This is the Afghanistan, what do you call him again? A representative of Afghanistan, right? He's the ambassador of the Islamic Emirate of the Afghanistan, right? He was received by Beijing. But the significance of this photo is like once upon a time, they were seen as like the Houthi rebels running around in sleepers and rifles or animal booby traps. But they chased out the US with the whole infamous video of people falling off from the planes, seizing of American weapons that were left behind. And now they actually have ambassadors that are received all around the world. It's satire. There's just no other way to.
No, but we know those things will happen. A man's territory is his territory, no matter what you try to do. If this is my birthplace, this is my ancestral land. It's hard to come and change things anyhow for those people. So yes, that's a very strange thing. Now they have ambassadors all over. Can you imagine?
And they call themselves like with all due respect, they call themselves Taliban. Like with all
shaking hands with Xi Jinping, and maybe soon they'll be shaking hands with some European prime ministers too. Thank you very much, viewers. This is it. But before we go, let's look at some small thing. I like to say this when I see one. A South African inventor, a young man, was given a prestigious prize for building a dispenser locker. I was trying to get that clip before we came, but I couldn't. But anyway, this young man was able to invent this beautiful thing, a medical dispensing locker. And he won an award for it. And it goes to show that young people, Africans, yes, we can wake up our brain and also get into this new wave of invention. A lot of us need to come up with that. There are so many things that can be done. New ideas can be done, new creation, new innovative things. So we want to say kudos to that young man. Sorry, I couldn't get the clip. I was to get the clip, the picture, and what he invented. But it happened yesterday in South Africa, and we like to give accolades to those that are doing notable things, noble things. So, gentlemen, do you have any last things to say? Godwin, is there any last take?
Yeah, I just want to add that kudos to the guy. Actually, he suffered from tuberculosis, right? And he suffered from tuberculosis, and he had to wait in the queue for hours to get his drugs. So like they say, necessity is the mother of invention. So he's an electric engineer, and he decided that okay, like if there were deep dispensers, maybe he wouldn't have had to wait this long to get his much needed medicine for tuberculosis.
Thank you very much. Good one, Godwin. I trust your. So, BD, any last take?
Yeah, I saw that, and honestly, I was really, really touched. And such things, sorry to sound differently. You see, such things saw the limelight because probably it's South Africa. Nigerians are very intelligent and innovative people. I've seen a lot of people innovate a lot of things, but it does not pass this hour. Well, our people don't take them serious. We have a lot of young boys.
It's in your hands. People like you, media people, media personnel, to bring those people out to the light. Bring them to us.
Personally, let me tell you one story. 4 years ago, I met a young man who built an aeroplane. I interviewed that guy. I brought him to NTA. I took him to so many people. But what happened? Yes, I took him to two senators. I took him to the local government chairman. I interviewed him. I broadcast him. What happened?
Okay, it is 4 years ago. Now you're with SSM network, and it will be a different thing. a lot of things will happen. We are from all corners of the world, and we're out here now to be part of people's progress. We want good things. We want Africa also to be on that line of good things. Gentlemen, Godwin, I want to say thank you. We had quite a number of viewers and likes and comments also. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in. SSM Friday. We just did our world affairs news today. Nigerian Super Eagles will be playing with the Angola team at the AFCON tournament ongoing. So on this note, gentlemen, I said have a beautiful weekend till we come next week. Thank you, Godwin. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
BD.
Thank you. Thank you, viewers.
All right then. Bye-bye.